Okay, welcome to the plans of 2026. That is very crazy to say, actually. Wow. Alright. Well, so basically, if you don't know what these videos are about, every year, at the very start, pretty much of the year, basically I go over the plans for the year, what I kind of plan on, and that kind of deal. So there's a bunch I'm going to be covering in today's video, and obviously that kind of deal. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of heads up. Everything is still subject to change. Pretty much things can happen. As of right now, at the time of recording this, some of this in November, and some of this was recorded in September, and that kind of deal. I've basically have, two jobs right now, trying to just prepare for things and that kind of deal. Part of it is, for a PC, part of it's also for college, that kind of deal, and anything else that I plan to throughout my own lifetime. So that kind of thing's going on. Now, obviously there's much to do, but there's a lot to get into. So we'll just kind of go from there. Alright, so some changes that are going to be happening on the Discord are very, very simple. Not much is going to be changing with everything on it. But the server name, which used to be R4 Panda server, I decided to change that to Panda's Den to kind of suit the channel a little bit more and all that. Now, there are going to be new text channels and all that kind of stuff, so like, we're going to be having screenshots with images kind of mixed in with all that as one channel or little chat thing. And then we're also going to have a suggestions area, so that means you guys can put any games down or any ideas down for me to try and all that. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. And then game forms. So this is just going to be me talking with you guys on whatever types of games that we'll be discussing on there. So yeah. Okay, so some Twitch updates here. It's just going to be very, very brief. Basically, obviously we've been doing the Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern and that kind of thing. My goal is to have a stream every Tuesday for sure, being based off of just only Farming Simulator 25. Now, I am considering about streaming on Wednesdays, probably like 10 p.m. Eastern possibly, or even earlier in the day. Just depends on some things, but it may be like a different game. I have a couple of different series possibly planned out for Twitch, but yeah. Okay, so we got the group updates. So basically, this is basically just talking about, what the plan is for maybe like Ace and Ash, Pickle and Jester, and that kind of thing. I do plan to do more content with those guys. It just depends on, of course, what kind of time we have and if we can actually get to actually make some videos. But I do have some videos made for a little while, so I do hope you guys enjoy those videos and that kind of deal. So yeah. Okay, so we got the YouTube updates. They're nothing too crazy. It's just simple things that can, a little bit more updated, a little bit more, just a little bit better, I feel like. So we're gonna start out with like the teaser posts, that kind of deal, and all of that. So basically, obviously, every time there's a new series, 2 days before that, I like to make an announcement of the what kind of game it is and the description of a little bit about the game and when it's releasing. So we'll be still having that happen, but 2 days before that, if it is a single player game, I'm gonna have like a quote from the game, and I'm gonna see how this works out and if you guys like that or not and all that. Now the other part of the post is at the end of every month we have the 4 games that you guys can choose and would like to see come sooner than some others, and that kind of deal. So basically what I'm doing is, in little parentheses, I'm going to be having either single player, which is just me, of course, and then another being group. So that means like with any of the guys that I play with could be featured in that video. So yeah. Now the other thing is schedule changes. Obviously, we're going to keep it at 5 p.m. Eastern for when videos releases and that kind of deal. So the other thing is pretty much, obviously I used to do 11 a.m. is when we would do it. Now I am going to switch it to 1 p.m. instead and that kind of deal. So that has changed. Obviously every Thursday will be a group video if we can, and everything else will be just like normal. Okay, so I know some of you are probably really excited to see this for PC updates and all that. Of course, I've been trying to work on getting a PC so I could play more games, maybe even edit and do a whole bunch more stuff behind the scenes, but also life things. So I actually did get a PC from a friend of mine who actually gave it to me for free, so I could actually try to learn what I'm going to be going into for potentially college and all that. So it's not an actual PC for gaming and can't really run games because it's quite an old PC. It's like 20 years old. Never used though. So yeah. So I actually did spend some time actually working on, during 2025, actually working on like the specs for my gaming PC. Of course, it's gonna cost a lot. It's without a doubt for my first PC, but I also want to make sure it's, to where I don't have to worry about upgrading for a long time. At least minimum of 5 to 10 years if I can. So what I'm going with is an AMD Ryzen 9700X processor. So that's, for those of you who don't know, that's just your CPU. So it's a really good CPU from what I've heard. And then the MSI Mag 8 X870 Tomahawk, which is the motherboard that I'll be using for the CPU that I got. Now, of course, I'm also going to make sure I got the storage and the RAM for it, so I got a G-Skill Trident Z5, which is a 64 gigabyte stick, so there's going to be 2 of those that are 32 gigabytes, and I'll just make sure, what I can do. And then I also went with the graphics card on that for this PC build. It's going to be a Gigabyte WindForce GeForce RTX 4070 Super. So I went with that instead. Now, of course, I can always change that if I wanted to, and I might. Who knows? I might go up even further if needed. So I'm also going to have my hard drive, which is I'm going to make sure I have the space for like games and all my recordings and all that. So I gotta make sure I got a Samsung 990 Pro 2 terabytes, which hopefully it works out. Now, I did go for a RM1200X shift, which that's just the power supply, and that thing, if I'm not mistaken, it I think produces 600 watts, I think, if I remember correctly. I forget. Now, obviously, you gotta be able to cool your PC. So I actually went with a Coolmaster Hyper 620S Dual, which is just like the fans, of course. So it'll be able to cool pretty quickly and try to keep things quiet the best it can. And then, of course, I just went with a pretty much a basic case, which is the 7000D Airflow case, which, you know, I don't want anything too fancy, so hopefully it all fits and eventually I can build this thing. Okay, so it's time for the most popular series on the channel. So this one, it's without a doubt, it's Choo Choo Charles. That series has been around for quite literally almost a fully 2 years, and it's still continuing to grow and do its thing. Now, of course, I didn't want to steal some spotlight from like some of the older series, some of the newish series from, you know, 2025. Well, not 2025, like 2024, and, you know, a little bit before that, some series. So some of the series that I've noticed have done well is Dying Light, Pacific Drive, Sea of Thieves, you got Hell Let Loose, and even Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is quite impressive. So yeah. Okay, so the other thing is the popular newer series. Now, this is just for the series of 2025 and for the year. Now, at the beginning of the year, we had, of course, you know, Farming Simulator and Gang Beast and Phasmophobia and all those at the start. Well, the one series I was not actually expecting to do so well was Gang Beast. That was the one series I did not think that would do well. And quite literally, you proved me wrong. So yeah, I'm really impressed with that series. I obviously will try to continue it somehow. And then that's just the group series. Now, the other one is, these are just solos. At the time of recording this, it's the end of August. I already know, you know, the series that have already just released by the time this video releases. But this is at the current moment. And, you know, I think Star Wars Battlefront 2 has done pretty well for my expectations of, you know, for that series at least. So yeah, it puts its little mark on the newer series of solos. Alright, so it's time for the Q&A section of the video. So there are 4 questions that I got from Sam here that I'm going to be answering today, and that kind of deal. So the first question is, are you going to be doing more content with Pickle? That is for sure yes. I'm going to try to do more content with him if I can. Obviously, you know, with any of the guys as well. Obviously, it just depends on times and that kind of deal. Like me, Ace and Ash, we're all in the same time zone. But for Pickle and Chester, they're an hour ahead of me. So depending on things, it may be difficult to actually get those videos done. But it might not be. It just really depends. So yeah. Okay, so the second question is, have you found any new friends or people that you will be doing videos with? And the answer is no. I've been trying to keep an eye out for that and, you know, see if there might be anybody, but as of right now, no. But I'm definitely open to having more people show up in the future. So the third question is, when do you think you will have a computer? So this question, I'm always, trying to figure out, when I might have it. The earliest I'm thinking I'll probably have it is like summer of 2026, of course. Now, it could be in the fall, it could be winter. It just kind of depends. Obviously, I'm trying to save up about roughly $2,500 to actually buy all the parts and get it built. So yeah, hopefully I can get it done sooner than later, but it just kind of depends. Okay, so the fourth question is, are you going to release any more compilations, or are you done with those? So obviously for 2025 it was actually kind of, shorter compilations. They weren't very long. And then November, of course, we had like a 29-minute video or close to that. So the reason why some of these compilations are taking so long to release is, one, I'm not getting enough clips, and I actually kind of set a standard for me to actually follow. Like having 4 separate games being in one compilation, I don't want anything below that, because then you pretty much have way too many clips of just like that same game over and over and over, and I don't feel like that would be very entertaining compared to having like multiple other games. So that's why it's kind of taking a while. I'm going to try my best to get them as soon as I can, but I'm still going to follow how I do things. Alright, as you can tell, it said new channel. Basically, I'm starting up a new channel, straight up just for VODs. So everything from my Twitch streams will go onto this channel, so you guys can watch it and do all that. This is something I've been kind of planning for the past year, and been really excited to do it. So hopefully you guys really do like it. Obviously, I'll still be learning from that channel, and pretty much using it for anything else if needed for stream wise. As of right now, I plan to have a couple different, a few different series, which they are all basically, as of right now, from today, there will be one stream that will pop up today, and then another stream a couple days later, or tomorrow actually, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So it is live right now, so go check it out. The link will be down in the description below, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, right before this video ends, I just wanted to say right quick, thank you guys for an amazing 2025 year. We've definitely grown quite a bit from last year and to now, so honestly I'm quite impressed with it, and honestly I can't wait for the 2026 new series to release. There's definitely a lot in store, so stay tuned for those and when those release. See you.